All right, we're back, and we are late, but we are back. Um, been real lazy on the episodes. I've been real lazy because I got a little bit sad, which is really all it takes to not do a podcast where you're alone in your room. You only need to be a little bit sad, not even that sad, because even when the podcast is the best it can be, it is still me talking in my room alone for an hour. So, if you're not feeling that good about yourself, if you're not really that amped on who you are and what you're doing with your life and how people feel about you, it's pretty hard to go into your room and be like, I'm just going to gab for an hour. I'm sure people would want to listen to that. I am 100% sure that people would want to listen to me talk for an hour straight. I know it. It's a fact. It's a cold, hard fact. I got to get in my room and I got to just say things that come into my head. No. Think you're a bit of an asshole? You end up taking a couple days off. You get a little lazy, a little sad couple of weeks. For no reason. Let's be clear. My life is fine. The fact I'm able to do this poorly is how good my life is going. Not only am I able to sit here and do this for essentially nobody, I am also able to do it poorly and have it not even really matter. I could be doing this in Soviet Russia and have to say everything perfectly or I'd get shot, you know. Or I guess I could just be working for an American news organization and have to say everything perfectly or get shot. So that being said, everything is fine, but I am late. But boy, is it good to be back in the studio with the crew. Here we are, back again. We're all excited to do it. Wow, is it good to be here. Wow. Trump's running again. He came out. He had a speech that honestly seemed like it was written for him. And you can really tell when a speech is written for Trump because he will put together sentences with words you've never heard him use that I don't think he even likes using. But then he'll say one of those lines that kind of gets a laugh. That's probably already in the speech, but then he'll pause and he'll look at the crowd and then he'll like riff on that and then just go right back to like classic, completely nonsensical rambling, making up nicknames for people, just going off, just being the rant comic that he is. But he gave that speech. He's using big words now. I don't know. I never watched him a lot. You know, you'd see his tweets and shit. I'd see the highlights. Trump, you know, is like football for a lot of people where you don't watch him all the time, but you can definitely see all of his highlights. There are so fucking many of them. But it might be hard to get into just for the play-by-play of the game itself, you know? He's not hitting dingers all the time. He is still an old man who doesn't have anything to say. So he's just riffing. So I'd see all his highlight reels. But, so I don't know if he necessarily was always a big word guy. But I do know that there were studies that his vocabulary was like that of a third grader. So I'm going to guess no. This new speech guy throwing out, you know, not even actually big words, but just like led the country with arrogance. You know what I mean? Like he's speaking almost like esoterically, which is not what he's good at. So I don't know why we're trying to do that. Maybe he's trying to seem smart to Ron DeSantis or something like that. I don't know. But he was saying all these words and getting people amped up. Getting people so amped up. I mean, it must be so fun if you are able to actually believe the things Trump says. He must be so fun to listen to. Because he was on the mic and he was like, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. There's never been a better economy. The rates of employment were humongous. And then he's like, and all it took was 4 years for all of that to go away. And he just paints that picture, and everybody in the audience is like, true. It was the best economy in the world ever, which is so funny to make statements like that, because it's like, I think he's trying to literally say best economy in the world, but it's also like, what was the Aztecs economy like? What about like Mansa Musa in Africa and them? Like, they had pretty good economies. He was known as the richest man in the world. How are we quantifying that? But I think if you asked him, he'd literally be like, if we were there, we would have more gold. We would have the most gold, and we would have a lot better looking palaces, a lot better. You gotta love a guy that, like, he won't even, like, he could say best economy in the last 100 years and would be wrong, I'm pretty sure. I don't know much about money, but I know that not everybody was rich when Trump was in office. Not everybody had the easiest ways ever. I shouldn't say rich, but not everybody, it wasn't the easiest it ever was to make money. He could just say 100 years and still be wrong, but just keep it at 100. But with Trump, he's like, no. Definitely of all time. Definitely from whenever the idea of currency began till now, we were the best. Which at that point is like, well, that just should be true, right? We probably should have figured things out. It's got to have been good to be the guy to have run the first economy. Because then if people get mad at you, you're like, we just started. And they're like, you're right. You are so right. I know. We don't even know what to do with these rocks yet. We're still figuring it out. Last year was better. And he's like, last year we didn't have money. And they're like, yeah, you're right. But it was better. Maybe we shouldn't have money. I wouldn't be surprised if within like the first year of like creating currency, there was one guy that's like, we shouldn't have done this. Because we were alive before, so I don't know what we're doing now. Remember before this when we were alive? If we were dead and money made us alive, I could understand doing money. But we were alive before, so I don't really know why we're here. Yeah, he's running again. People are amped. I don't know. I'm wondering because it's like you look at the circumstances and you're like, you got voted out and you got raided by the FBI and you're going to run again. That candidate should not win. That candidate should have a really hard time winning. But also it's like, he shouldn't have won the first time and he shined so much. He might be the perfect guy to run after being voted out of office. Like, that might be what he's been preparing for his whole life, because he's always been good at failing and then still being given opportunities despite the failure. He got The Apprentice after he had like bankrupted multiple companies and had fucked up all these real estate ventures and really knew nothing about money. He just knew how to pretend like he had it. And then he just became known as a super rich guy and then made way more money off of that Apprentice show. So, like, the second win for him, if it happens, will be like his Celebrity Apprentice. That will be his Celebrity Apprentice moment where he's come back and he's legitimized after just fucking pretty much all of it up the whole time. He is ready for it, no matter what. I don't know if he's gonna win, but boy is he ready for it. I mean, because it's like the debate is just everybody's just gonna be like, you did this and you did this and you did this, and then this happened because of that, and you fucked this up, and you said this, and then it fucked this up. But he's ready because he'll just keep doing what he did the first time, which is just say no. And I think to a lot of people, they're like, well, who would fall for his tricks again? It's like the people who fell for them the first time, because the tricks are still working. They're not going to... they're going to be excited. He's going to pull out the classics. Because, like, people like me, California liberal elites, are going to look at it and be like, oh, he's just pulling out all the old stops again. He's just doing all the same shit. This is so stupid. We're just doing this whole merry-round again, you know? Merry-go-round again. But then the people that like him are going to watch him and just be like, oh, shit, he's coming back. The Dawn is back. It's like Trump's campaigns are like the Rocky franchise. It's like he's just going to do the same thing every time. And the people that like it are going to fucking love it. They're going to love it. What I'm most curious about is who is going to vote for Donald Trump for the first time in the upcoming presidential election a couple years from now. Who's going to do it for the first time? Who has been around this whole time and has been like, no, not the first time. The first time when it was such a dumb idea, but nobody knew what was going to happen. They just knew it was fucking crazy. That makes the most sense to get on board with. You're out of options. You're pissed. You don't like anybody. But this fucking asshole is loud as shit, and you're really just trying to get ramped up. You're just trying to feel something. You've been at the bar for so long, you found nobody to go home with, and then you look over, and you see that lady just trying to hold up a thin top on the mechanical bull. Just nobody's watching her, but she's so loud, but she's with nobody. Nobody's even watching. She just comes here every week. She rides that mechanical bull by herself off shots of wild turkey. You look at her and you're like, that's what I want right now. I've tried to be normal. I've tried to have conversations go with normal people, and now I'm going for the lady riding the mechanical bull by herself. That was the first, Trump election. It was all these horny, disillusioned working class people that just wanted to fuck because they hadn't been fucked good by a candidate in a while. So they got on board. They did it. Then they had texted her, and a lot of people were like, well, this is what I deserve. Let's run it back, Joe walked in the bar, who was just a confused lady with kind of a bad past, but was calmer and, a step up in terms of being insane, but not a far step up in terms of cognitive ability. And, a lot of people went with them. And, by the way, Hillary Clinton is just like a bartender doing like flip tricks, but in a cinder block bar where nobody would care about it. You know what I mean? It was just like, you're not fitting the vibe. What are you doing? You're talented, but this isn't going to work for you. A lot of people went right back to Mechanical Bull Lady. They're like, that's who I am now. That's what I do. I ride the bull. I don't get invited to Thanksgiving. Let's do it. And then that shit didn't work out, and now we're in a, I voted for the confused lady. We're all in a relationship with a very confused woman who might be well-meaning, but also pretty mean to Anita Hill. You know what I mean? But the third time, who sees the old woman, who sees a lady on the mechanical bull and is like, I'm going to fuck her. Then all their friends are like, just so you know, it doesn't really work out. And they're like, I know, but once again, I just want to feel something. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, once again, let's just do something crazy. I mean, a lot of his new voters are this insane group of Gen Z kids who were, fucking 10 or whatever when Trump was getting in office, or 12, or, people that are going to be 18 when that day comes. These insane kids that have been like Fox News radicalized by like one of their first like cognizant introductions to politics, when they could really think and go to school and talk about it and go online and look at stuff by themselves. was Trump. And that's just what they think politics is. Because before with Obama and McCain, I remember that when I was in kindergarten, that was happening the first time, and I remember debating things. That was my introduction to politics. But with Trump, it's like there's a lot of kids that it's like that election, the Trump and Hillary, was like the first election that they saw happen. And they were like, "Oh, this is how politics works. Is there's a woman who seems to be made of magnetic clay throwing out a lot of facts. She's trying her best, just not a lot of fun to be around. And then there's a guy who's calling her a murderer and her husband a rapist, and everybody's clapping for him. So this is politics." And then Trump wins, and you go, okay, so I guess that guy did the right thing. And then that's what they think politics is. And then they're going to vote. And so, hey, you know, good on them with the kind of brainwashing that happens. They must be pretty amped to throw in their first vote for Donald Trump, you know. It's got to be an exciting day when your dad has been calling Democrats evil, blood-sucking lizard people for years, and it's 2024 and you're finally 18 and you're like, I am throwing in my D-Trump ballot, you know. It feels like you're going off to war. That's what they want, you know. They want the war. They wish they could fill out the ballot by shooting out the names that they want. You know what I mean? They're hyped. It's good to be a part of a movement, and it's also fun to be angry. And I think that's why Trump people like it, because you get to get together with a bunch of people and be so fucking mad, because there's such aggression at those rallies where it's like they're playing YMCA, but, you know, it's like, get out of my country right now. You know, it's like really, that's what they're thinking. You know what I mean? In that song, they say, you know, coming down to the YMCA, I think they say, like, everybody's welcome. You know, we're all here. Not on the Trump supporters' heads. Come down to the YMCA if you're ready to be a patriot. Storm that cap. Pital, you know? That's when you come down to the YMCA. That's where we're having fun. So much aggression. They're amped. So, yeah, a lot of those kids. I also feel like maybe the other people who would vote for Trump for the first time would just be like an 85-year-old man that has never cared about voting, but he just got a cell phone and he's just like wandering around on the internet and doesn't know that all of it's lies yet. So he's just Googling questions and just thinking whatever answer just comes up is true. He's just typing in, like, is Hillary Clinton a lizard person? And then just because of the way Google works, getting so many articles that are like, Hillary Clinton is a lizard person. Then there's like one New Yorker article that's like describing that phenomenon. They're like, well, the only people who say it ain't true is these Yankees up there. You know what I mean? That's who I think it is. Just some old man that's just finding his way on to like incel Reddit pages about how they're trying to take things away and turn all the cows gay and shit like that. Just in an old farmhouse. Finally got cell reception. Just on an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Huge screen. Old man. Not doing any of his farmer duties anymore. Just on the phone. Afraid. That might be Trump's new voter. Just driving 60 miles to a ballot place. Terrified. Just wide-eyed. Just like, we gotta fix this. Reading too much. He read too much. Trump would welcome him. I don't know. I guess I'd vote for Joe again. I don't know if we're going to run anybody else. At this point, I don't know, it would not make sense to just literally bow our own guy out of the second election. It's not like he's like horrible at his job, but it's also like just he's so fucking old. We could just have an agreement of the fact that he is very old and be like, all right, just somebody young. Just can AOC do it? Probably not, but just bring her in. He's so goddamn old. Folks, he is so goddamn old. I don't know. I forgot to fucking vote in the midterms. That's how dumb I am. There's a ballot place near my work. I was going to drop off the ballot. Just didn't work around close enough around the time frame of voting, and then just forgot to drop off the ballot and did not vote. Didn't even fill out the ballot, let's be clear. Sorry. Yeah, just it didn't even begin the process. Had it, did not fill it out. I feel bad, feel stupid. I like to be part of the process. I don't trust it, but I like to be a part of it. In case it works. It's kind of like praying to God sometimes, you know? You're like, I don't know if any of this is real, but I'll just cash in some chips. Throw some quarters in the piggy bank, you know what I mean? Get it going, see if it's real, you know? Check it out. But I forgot, and I've been telling people. Some people unhappy with me. Some people are like, that's fucked up, man. You gotta vote. You can't just forget to vote. It's fucking stupid. You gotta vote. I think so too. But also, if you're the kind of guy that forgets to vote, maybe you don't need to be voting. Maybe your vote was actually not that important. Maybe it shouldn't be counted the same as the rest. You know what I mean? There should be a thing where it's like, my vote should count for like half of a regular vote. Or if I'm late, you know what I mean? Just throw it in. It's half. That would immediately be used to not count poor people's votes. But anyway, I forgot. But I don't know. Karen Bass won. She beat Rick Caruso for fucking mayor. Probably good. I don't know. Rick Caruso wants to make being homeless illegal as a way of helping the population. I mean, he's also opening up. He was going to open up some fucking shack cities and shit, but he wanted to make it illegal first, which I don't know if making more things illegal is really something we need to do at this point. I guess I'm on her side. I think I am. Feels like I should be. I was probably going to vote for her. From what I was going to vote for her because I wasn't going to vote for Rick Caruso, and I wasn't going to vote for Rick Caruso because in his campaign commercial, they described him as a builder. They said, Rick Caruso's a builder. He's built a lot of homes around LA. He's a builder. And there's something about somebody running for mayor where they're described as something that is not mayor that makes you feel like they might not be good at being mayor. Leader, politician, elected official, has held administrative office. Something like that I like to hear. But I don't know if I elect builders for mayor the same way I don't elect bakers for mechanics. They're different. They are not the same. A guy that really likes making money off of building houses is actually probably going to be pretty bad at getting homeless people off the street. If he was marketed as guy that really loves getting homeless people off of the street, that's what he does. He's not a builder. He he gets homeless people off the street, I'd say, okay, that's pretty good. It's not as good as mayor, but it's good. Builder. So, it's hard to get hyped off of a guy being a billionaire. At least the kind of guy that I am. It's like, it's not that. Doesn't just make me think they're going to be good at running a huge city government. Because the fact of the matter is, hear that shit? Hear that shit? God damn. The fact of the matter is, running a city government is way less fun than running a billion-dollar real estate business. Like, way less fun. Because when you do shit as a huge businessman, well, you make a shit ton of money. And when you do the job of mayor legally in the right way, what you get is like a bridge, or like more people working at a Subway, or more people inside of homes sleeping. And that is all great. And it's what we all want to see in the world around us. But individually, we would all kind of like to see an indoor pool around us. So you look at a billionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire. Isn't he a billionaire? Everybody says he's a billionaire. Whatever. He's got a bunch of money. He has more money than I'll ever see. You have a guy like that, or you have a guy like Trump, and you want to almost tell him, like, hey, you're not going to enjoy this job. This job doesn't involve things that are actually fun for you, that you're into doing. Rick Caruso probably likes to do drugs off of women's bodies. Even though he's an old man, that's probably shit that he's into because he makes money off of business. He also likes being the boss, which is a bad thing for a politician to want, actually. Because there's a big difference between being like the CEO of your own company and a mayor. Because the CEO, unless there's like a board or maybe some big checks and balances, or if you're the CEO but not the owner, let's say you're the owner and the CEO of a company, if you want to do some shit, you can pretty much just do that shit. You can do it, you can get some advice and shit, but nobody's going to be like, no. You're mayor. You want to throw your dick on the table, and then they're like, well, we got to take it through this committee, and there's got to have a meeting, and we got to have a hearing about it. We got to do this, and we got to vote on it. And that is not fucking big dick stuff. You have to have a humble penis to do that. You have to have a humble penis. But a lot of our elected officials have small penises or large penises. Somebody like Trump with a small penis who loves gold and extravagance and trying to seem the coolest, and that's why he gets bored as a president and does wild shit and ends up stealing classified documents, and the FBI has to raid him. You know? Or you got fucking Lyndon B. Johnson, who's just fucking taking his cock out in the middle of meetings, you know what I mean? And those are not guys that truly should be the president. You have to have a guy, I think, like Bernie, who probably has a pretty regular penis. A pretty regular penis, Probably no bigger than 6.5 inches, Nothing to write home about. But a fine penis, No smaller than 5.5, let's say that. So nothing that you take out of your pants and you're sad about. But nobody's seeing that and being like, whoa. It's the kind of penis that you want in office. We've had a lot of the wrong penises in office, and it's because the penises that want to be in office are not good penises to be in office. They're penises that want the power. That's why Trump is not a good president, or was not a good president, but he was one of the best at getting elected president. He was the best at it, which is all you need to do to be elected president. So that's how you end up with all these penises in office that aren't really supposed to be in office, All these, you end up with JFK. That's a big penis in the office. Or maybe that's sort of a normal penis, but there's so much old money involved that it might as well be a big penis. And what does he end up doing? He starts the United Fruit Company in El Salvador, growing all these bananas, millions of dollars. Meanwhile, all of the money they're making is just going right back to America, not into the country. And that country's starving the whole time while we're using their land to grow bananas for other people. It's the wrong penis in office. Jimmy Carter was a good penis to have in office. He wasn't looking for glory. He had ideas. He liked the Dewey Decimal System. He wanted us to use kilos. You know what I mean? He had some nice ideas, and he didn't need glory for it. He had a penis that he was comfortable with, and then he presented ideas that he thought were good, and nobody was excited by them. Because people either want to have a Napoleon or a Hitler, just a raving, insecure, small penis man, just like, and they can attach their small penis anger to that. Or they want a big penis who's just going to fucking make you feel like you're getting fucked every time you listen to him. You get somebody like JFK or, Lyndon B. Johnson. You got these penises in office. But a truly comfortable penis is it is inspiring. But on a grand stage, people really only relate to a pendulum swing. Nobody wants an average penis. People either want burn the world down anger or burn the world down just to show that you can. So I think the answer is pretty simple. We got to start throwing pussies in office. The penis game, it's not working too well. There's only so many types of penis. We've had all of them at this point. None of them have really crushed it that well. What would a pussy with a lot of lip look like in office? What would a small pussy look like in office? What would a puffy pussy look like in office? These are the questions that me as a voter, when I remember voter, am asking. Just get different genitals in office, because the kind of genitals that you have dictate your way of going about life. The only people that have led us in this country are people who can stay on their 2 feet, only pull down their pants a little, and pee anywhere they want. We've never had anybody who, if they needed to pee, could potentially stay outside, but have to pull down whatever they're wearing, pop a squat, make sure they're not peeing on the shit they're wearing. That's a different way of going about life. That's a way of life that requires more awareness, more tactfulness, more planning. Sounds like a pretty good thing for an office, for a president to have. How do these people piss? Big dick guys, they want everyone to see. They just take it out and it flops. Small dick guys, they hide it and they got to push it down so it doesn't just shoot straight in front of them. Let's get a president that has to pull down that skirt and take their time. We have no idea until we try it. We have no idea. And we got to do it like 5 times or whatever to see how that works. How different types of pussies in office work. Because no penis is the same, which means we can't just bring in one pussy and see what happens. There are many different types of pussies and penises. We gotta catch them all. I'd be down to vote for like just 25 years of only presidents that are women. Go for that. 25 years. That's a lot of time to change stuff. But it's a lot of country. And after that, then we're just anybody's getting elected. But I'm saying 25 years just only. Let's just get away from penis rule. There's a lot of dicks in office. It's too much dick. There's way too much dick. I think it would be very funny if a woman became president, because I feel like pretty quickly into the term, she would start doing things that every president has had the power to do, but has never cared enough to do. Like just reallocate like a portion of funds, and then every kid in every public school has like such better food. You know what I mean? Or just like take a little bit from here, put it over there. All of a sudden, there's like free online classes for basic things like tax and stuff, or what, you know what I mean? It's like just these little things that aren't even major policy changes. Just take a little bit of this here, take a little bit of this here, take a little bit of this here. Just all of a sudden, somehow find a way to incentivize all companies to end the workday an hour early. And it would be like that easy. And everyone would be like, how did you know that you could do this? And then she'd just be like, this is all within the framework of what a president can do. And nobody's ever even thought about it for even a moment. They're like, wait, so did you just like research the powers that you have as a president and then act upon them accordingly? And she's like, yeah, 100%. I feel like, the way the patriarchy works, it's like all the presidents we've had have no idea what happens with their laundry. You know what I mean? Like they just live in their own tunnel vision and they don't actually go through the motions of life. So like JFK threw towels in the corner of the room, and when he came back, they weren't there. They were in his closet, warm and clean, and he didn't know how that happened. And that's why he had no idea how to make a better work week for people, or the importance of whatever. You know what I mean? You have a woman come in being like, yeah, man, you guys don't know how the world works. What happens to stuff? I think it worked out pretty well, you know what I mean? A couple of months into office, they're like, yeah, women can get 8 months paid maternity leave. Everybody's like, what? That's going to bankrupt us. How's it going to happen? They're like, oh, no, we've actually been spending money on hoarding government cheese that nobody buys, and that cost billions of dollars a year. So I just decided to stop doing that. I sold the excess cheese to whoever would buy it. We repurposed that land, which has actually now been given back to the Native Americans, and we have a surplus of cash, which we are going to use only a fraction of, actually, on this paid maternity leave. I think our country is being run the same way my room will be run, where like I'll have a cup of coffee and then I'll leave it on my desk and I'll go throughout my day, and then that coffee will stay on my desk throughout the entire day, and then I'll come in at night and I'll see it and I'm like, I gotta pour that down the drain, and then I just go to sleep, and then I wake up and then that coffee's still there. I think that's how our country's run, except that coffee is like a policy or something we spend money on, and it's just been happening for 60 years, and we spend like $2 billion a year on it. And nobody really cares that much because there's so much fucking money. And we just have to act like there isn't money. I don't know. It's like just... We gotta fucking... If it's... I know it's not a full democracy. We're being lied to all the time. But if we got a democracy, we gotta do some shit different. It's just... We can't keep doing white dudes. We can't, and not just because of the look of it, but just the brass tacks of like the same type of people every time. There's no way that's gonna work. There's absolutely no way. Here's my thing. Here's where I'm at. I want the next president to be a woman, but not a politician. Just a woman. Just a woman who works at like a Shell gas station from the hours of like 9 p.m. to fucking 4 a.m. I want her to be president. I'm pretty sure if she was in office, we would figure a lot of shit out. Because she's the person that when the guys come in during the day, they're like, the store looks great. And she's like, I'm the only one that fucking cleans it. You know what I mean? Like, she should be the president. How many fucking good ideas would she have? You know what I mean? Oh, all of a sudden, you don't got to go to work. You don't got to go into work till 11. Who worked that out? Fucking Carla? Hey, you know, Carla found all this fucking extra money that we've been spending on a country that doesn't exist anymore. Do you know we're sending checks to a P.O. box? You know, like, it's just... Put her in charge. Have some fun with it, you know? Or a kid. I don't know. Can we take a kid out of school and treat them, I don't know, you know, like a Dalai Lama or something? Just have them just be the president. Try that out, you know? That could be good. I just feel like if there was any regular person in office that wasn't trained to be so evil, none of what they do would make any sense. You know what I mean? He'd just be like, oh, why do we let this one guy own 75 companies? That kind of fucks up the economy, right? And then they tried to explain it to him. And he'd be like, oh, well, no, that's not. He'd be like, yeah, we're going to stop him from doing that. And then there's just like, what? And then like Coke goes under. You know what I mean? Any normal person, if they were not part of that ecosystem of handoffs and making money and keeping monopolies in place to keep getting money, to stay in power, to keep them in power, to get more money, this whole thing, they're not a part of that. They would just be like, oh, well, that's stupid. It's obviously stupid. It's obviously hurting us. It's obviously the reason that a lot of these people don't have a lot of money and are getting fucked over. Maybe bring in a couple. You know what I mean? Like some nice couple that both work at like a FedEx shipping office. And they like work the same shifts and they like help each other out and they know exactly what they're doing, like changing a ink cartridge from an industrial printer, not even a problem for them. Can we have a couple run the country? I think that would be romantic. I mean, I know the president always has like a first lady, you know, or a partner, but I'm saying dual president, man, wife, Mr. President, Mrs. President. Sorry. At this point, I don't know why we wouldn't, you know. At this point, I don't know why we wouldn't at least try and have fun with it. Get a furry. Could we get a furry to be in office? I would love a furry to be in office. Just watching this fucking documentary. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a documentary. It was a fucking 15-minute YouTube video about a My Little Pony fan that shot up a FedEx office, which is just one of those people that would not exist if the internet did not exist. If the internet didn't exist, those 8 people that he killed would still be alive. I'm 100% sure of it. He was a brony. If you know what bronies are, I remember that being almost like a trend, but I assume it's probably still happening. It's these adult men that watch My Little Pony, and they definitely want to fuck the ponies, and they do fuck the ponies. Because it was this kid, he was like 18, and his whole wall to wall just covered in the children's pony cartoon show My Little Pony posters, and he had a stuffy. I never say stuffy. He had a stuffed animal of one of the My Little Pony characters. It was his favorite. She's a girl. And it's like this big. It's a pony. And it's laying face down on his bed. They had real pictures of his bed, and all the pictures, this My Little Pony's face down. And that My Little Pony plush doll had quite a horse ass on it. It had some thick thighs. And I'm like, they never say it. You're watching the documentary and you're like, that kid fucked the shit out of that My Little Pony doll. The shit out of it. He made a Facebook post a few days before this shooting where he was like, I'm gonna, I hope Apple flaps, I'll see her in heaven, and if she's not real, then my life was never worth living anyway. So I don't understand to what extent he thought the character was real, but he definitely wanted to fuck her. Which is like, that doesn't happen if the internet doesn't exist. Because in the old days, if you watched My Little Pony as a grown man and it made you horny, you were just ashamed, or that was like a secret you had. And you kept it inside, and you had one VHS tape that you would put in at 2 a.m. and jerk off to, and after you would want to kill yourself, and you would hide that VHS tape in a safe under the ground. This kid had posters of it all over his wall. His mom knew about it. He had stickers everywhere. He had an AR-15 with a My Little Pony sticker on it. And it's because he got horny for My Little Pony. He went online, and then he found a fucking community of other dudes that are into that. And at that point, then you're just fucked. Because before the internet, you couldn't find community in such a simple way, which we're finding out was a good thing. Because even when it's positive, you don't fucking need to know everybody that likes the Grateful Dead, and it's more fun to go through life and fucking find people who like the Grateful Dead. The good thing with the My Little Pony is you would never find those people in real life. No fucking person would have the gall to go out in the world and be like, get pretty horny about My Little Pony. But now the internet, you just have these anonymous communities of dudes that are able to openly just be like, yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of Applejack, When instead they should talk to a therapist or be ashamed. And I am kink shaming right now because I don't think jerking off to a children's cartoon show should even be considered a kink. I think that's disrespectful to kinks. I think that's like a perversion. I don't think the shooting had to do with wanting to fuck My Little Ponies, but the fact that it didn't is almost creepier. Being a My Little Pony fucker is bad enough, but to then add on to that mass shooter, I don't know. This kid was all fucked up. He was depressed his whole life. His dad hung himself when he was a kid. He like stopped going to school in like 6th grade. He had all these mental problems. Doing a little better for a while. Got a job at FedEx. Stopped going to work. FedEx. A month later, after he stops going to work, he shows up, starts shooting people. And I don't know how he got that gun. They didn't explain it because he had a gun before, but it got taken away because his mom was like telling the cops like he's fucking crazy. So they had to take his gun away. But it's the internet's fault. It's his mom's fault. His mom was a fucking idiot. He wanted to buy a gun. After this kid's like, I don't know, not even 18. It's like late teens, maybe 18. I don't know how old you have to be to buy a gun where he was from, but he's been talking about killing himself. He's been fucking punching his mom in the face. He's been kicked out of school. He's wanting to fuck My Little Pony. And he's like, I want to buy a gun. And his mom's like, all right. And on the drive to the fucking place, you know, I love my roommate, but he is retarded and he just stays in his room and he just screams at video games. It's so goddamn annoying to listen to somebody fucking scream about video games because they scream with the same urgency as if they're on the Titanic, but they're just doing the gayest shit in the world. And I know I'm podcasting alone. I know that. But it sucks that our same adrenaline-filled urges can just be used for gay-ass video games. You'd hope that your body would not even allow you to use those chemicals for that. It's all right. This kid, he's been talking about killing himself his whole fucking life. And his mom drives him to a gun store. She drives him to a gun store, and they see a sign that says, stop suicide. And he looks at her, and he goes, there's your sign. Which is a very clever, but also very obvious cry for help. That she's driving to buy him a gun. And he's like, hey, there's your sign. Don't do this. And then you hear her voice. She's like talking to detectives, explaining that situation. And she goes, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, there's your sign. And just, there are some moms that will continue to treat their kid like it's a normal situation when it is not. They're like, well, you're weird. Eh? I don't know. Okay. And it's like, you should be put on trial for murder. You should literally be put to death for what you are doing. He ended up killing himself. But that's because he could have just been a sad, weird guy who wanted to fuck My Little Pony. Chances are, though, he found out about the My Little Pony thing online, so it's like, he could have just been a sad dude. You can't have the internet and bad gun laws, you know what I mean? You cannot have the internet and bad gun laws. You know, when I hear my roommate yelling to people over video games when he says, behind you, it's so funny because, no, they're not. They're not behind you. You're playing a game. It's not real. But your body is using its energy to tell people that they're in danger. Video games suck dick. I mean, podcasting is fucking gay, but video games are like, they're too fun to possibly be cool, you know? Well, listen. Trump's going to win again, and a bunch of My Little Pony fans who want to fuck the ponies are going to vote for him. That is the show.